Today, I'd like to introduce you to the founder of PsyTech VR, an innovative platform that provides virtual reality-based training for mental health professionals and individuals. He is the pioneer in the field of immersive therapy and has spent years researching and developing cutting-edge VR technology to help people overcome mental health challenges. In this episode, we will dive deep into the world of PsyTech VR, exploring the various applications of the platform and the ways in which it is changing the landscape of mental health treatment. From anxiety and depression to PTSD and addiction, PsyTech VR offers a unique approach to therapy that is both effective and accessible. So whether you are a mental health professional looking to integrate VR into your practice or an individual seeking new ways to improve your mental health and wellness, you won't want to miss this episode. Join us as we sit down with the founder of PsyTech VR to learn more about this exciting and transformative technology. I can't wait to begin. Let's do it. Thank you so much for being here today. Today we're speaking with Daniel, and it happens that right now he's on a vacation in Cyprus. How is everything going there? What's the weather like?
Oh, like here in Cyprus, it's always summer. So Cyprus is doing great. The sun, the atmosphere, the food, the ocean, all good.
Beautiful. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Mm-hmm. So we'd like to know a little bit about your background or anything that led you to at some point start creating PsyTech VR, and how is that story behind the scenes?
Oh, so let me just say a few words about my background. So honestly speaking, I started doing something in the VR sphere almost like 4 years, 4.5 years ago, when I first created with my partners the VR arcade. It was pretty simple, like we had a few VR headsets. We were trying to make some gaming VR thing, and that was the point where I met the VR. So next, I was studying at the university this time. So next, I got an idea of creation the VR lab at my university. So I, just after a few months, I created a special business plan that was like creating of the VR arcade in the university and also of the VR lab that will work with all these educational things, right? So this was my second startup, which I implemented in the university. And again, working in parallel there, I was always thinking of creating something which will be more wider than just a structure in the university. So, a small funny story which stand behind is that, my mother, she's professional CBT specialist. She's psychologist, this. So, she has an experience of more than 15 years, working with various things like anxieties, fears, and phobias. So, my father, he is a business developer. He was doing lots of things, even like he had this MBA strategic management. So he is more about the entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. So I'm, right now I'm 24. At that time I was 20 years old. And, I was working with the VR. My father was the business developer. My mom was the psychologist. And, we had a really close friend in the US. His name is Peter Leuchman. So at that moment and still now, he's a great IT entrepreneur in the US with a company Core Achieve with more than 200 developers. So basically, I'm just giving you an explanation of what type of the background we had. Yeah. We were having this Zoom dinner where we were having we were talking to each other because my father knows Peter even before me. So, we were talking about this things, and Ina, my mom, she said, one of my patients came to me at the consultation, and I used with him a special methodology called imaginal exposure. And basically, imaginal exposure is one of the methods that's helping the psychologist of treating fears, phobias, and anxieties. And then can be explained in the following. So the psychologist is asking the patient to close eyes and visualize something with the imagination. And let's say that someone is afraid of the heights, right? So they need to visualize with the imagination that they're standing, for example, at the end of the skyscraper or near the border, near the canyon, right? Many things can. So when somebody is trying to think of this, they will overcome it. The body will make some hormones. So the brain will get familiar with the scenarios, and basically with the imagination, people can overcome it. It's a bit more complicated story, but the principle is the following. Mm-hmm. But Ina said that we have a problem, right? How we can solve it. And the team that will lead the PsyTech in the future, we just got this idea of creating something connected with the psychology and with the VR. So basically this was a dinner, right? We were just discussing some things and some problems happening in the world. And, we understood that we can create some value with the VR. Mm-hmm. Next, funny story. So we were looking to the internet and we found that, VR therapy was invented so many years ago. If you go to the Google Scholar and try to find the VR therapy, you'll be surprised. But nowadays there are more than 400,000 articles written there. So, we also found that the first VR treatment stuff was invented like in 1993 by the Georgia Tech and the US government. It was the virtual Vietnam simulator, which helped people with the PTSD of overcoming this post-traumatic stress disorder. So, we researched. Next, we just spoke to some prominent associations like American Psychology Association and others, to their specialists. And, after a year of research, we decided that we need to create something. And, at that time, the Meta released the Meta Quest 2. And it was a completely new experience. Before this, we were thinking of the Pico G2 4K, of the first Quest. This was not the best VR headsets that we wanted to work with, but the Meta Quest, we were so impressed by this. And we created just a prototype. Next, we tested it with more than 200 psychologists. We made this, small research, and we were testing it for more than a year. And next, we started working more with the product. So we partnered with big associations like American Psychology Association, ADA, European CBT Association, and others. And from that point, we started the campaign of PsyTech VR. When we just posted our website, so many people started noticing us on the web, hey guys, you're the only company that's working with the mental health in this, with the Meta Quests. We're interested. Let's talk, and others. So, long story short, this is how we created, I can cover many things, why we did it, and what are the features, but let me give you a chance to ask some interesting things.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's super exciting because, mental health is one of those
Sure.
type of situations that we have in the society that somehow are not addressed, and there is no the capacity, like governments, especially, for example, I live in Canada, and it happens that health is here free, let's say, to pay the taxes. And there are other things that take the priority in governments and in organizations, etc. Mental health is something like passive that has been there, but haven't been addressed directly as another type of illness or another type of situation that needs to be taken care of. So I am excited about that because now with this type of platform, it's like saying, hey, this is another solution that now opens, and that people don't necessarily have to rely in those systems, you know, the regular systems, the traditional systems, but also we can do things by ourselves. For example,
Sure.
I understand you have self-guided VR therapy, which is something that people might try to work with that themselves, or if they need support,
Correct.
they can have professionals and psychologists also
Right.
helping. Please let us know
Absolutely.
how did you start creating, like, how did you decide, okay, we need to do this, you know, self-guided, we need to do this also specialist, doctor-driven, etc. And what were the challenges in the actual creation of these opportunities and solutions for people?
Let me think where we can start. As far as Ina is a professional CBT specialist, we decided to look at this case. So first, what we created was the VR exposure training. Basically, the user was working in the VR headset, and the specialist was, seeing the broadcast on the computer, laptop, or mobile phone. And the interesting part which we created is that these scenarios really help. And I just want to start with the following. So how we work, what we have. So at PsyTech VR, we have two main directions. The first, we call it the abnormal psychology. And basically these are the anxieties, fears, phobias, anger management, and many, many other things will be coming soon, like PTSD, generalized anxiety disorders, and other things. And despite this, we also have another option that's called the mental wellness. So the mental wellness is a part connected with the relaxation practices, which we have, like mindfulness meditations, art therapy, and other things. And you know what? So you can go for these things separately, or for example, all together. And there is a choice. There's always a choice. So these are our main directions, and we were focusing first on the operation when the doctor was working with the patient. So interesting fact that we found that it's really immersive. It really helps. It's not so difficult to create such environments. You just need some experience of the psychologist and some more data from the patients. And another interesting thing which we found is that always when the patients are coming home, they should, complete their knowledge during a week without a specialist. That's why we created the self-guided training, and it was perfect time because, the MetaQuest was sold to many households in the US. So it was really easy to work with this type of the headset because, you just sideload the application. The doctor is giving you some accounts, right? You're just working during a week, without the specialist. And by our concept, the doctor is getting your statistics into the platform. So that was the first business case which we found. Next idea was that we can enlarge this to the hospitals, to the clinics. It was also a point because they are also having some psychologists, psychotherapists, and other mental health specialists. And it was the same as for the private practice. So clinics was the second case. The third case, it was found really interesting. So always where we were having some consultations with a specialist just presenting PsyTech VR, I'm speaking of psychologists, psychotherapists, they was always saying that, hey guys, it's cool, really. So you can immerse the patient, you can give them a special value. But when we were studying, we were never taught that VR can help. So we have some ideas that it might be not so, immersive or something like this. And that's why we decided to start working with the universities. And we are just offering the universities a special VR training system, which will give their future specialists, future psychologists, the understanding that VR and therapy exists. They can practically see how phobias, fears, and anxieties can look in their patient's eyes. And, we immediately started working with few universities. One is the South Carolina University on conducting our special clinical research. So we're also providing the universities and colleges with this VR training system, where first they can integrate it into the educational process of showing the future specialist, like this VR mental health things, which I'm 100% sure will work in the nearest future. Another topic is that we conduct special research-based work with the universities. And the third thing is that, in lots of universities and colleges, there are counselors and practitioners and psychologists that always are ready to help the students and, like learners. So basically, we also provide them with a special instrument, which they can use on a daily basis of helping those that really need help.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the third case. And we also discovered that PsyTech VR is a perfect fit for the enterprise companies, which are seeking the wellness solutions for their employees. I'm almost speaking about the HR departments. And, like everybody's speaking of the wellness. What is wellness? Funny story which stands behind is that we got some newsletters from various companies, and some send us the idea that, hey, let's make a wellness games in your company. That means let's play hide and seek. Let's go for a walk to the forest, right? So many options. But is it the wellness? We're not sure. We're really not sure that it will help you. And we understood that we can bring some value. So we started working with the PricewaterhouseCoopers, which like saw this experience, for their employees. So this was not the last case, but the fourth case, right? So, at these cases, I just gave you an explanation of what type of the audience we have. So basically, we work with four main types.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I have the understanding that you have something that is called VR biofeedback. What is that?
Right. A funny story which stands behind is that with the founders, with the team, we tested so many devices. We started like from the Apple Watch. Next, we tested some biofeed rings and other things. And like this is not the best solution which can fit the professional's experience, right? So what we did with one company, with one hardware vendor, is that we created a special VR biosensor. This is a special biosensor that goes with the VR headset. And, it's a special mask that can track your health indicators like pulse, HRV, stress level, and concentration level in real time. And, it's a cool device because it's really easy to handle. It's really easy to use. You just wear it with your VR headset. Mm-hmm. And during the lifetime, the specialists are getting this, biofeedback, results in real time, and they can understand your real emotions. Because let's say that you're somewhere in a public speaking hall. Let's say that there is a phobia called claustrophobia, phobia of public speaking, and we have some scenarios of it. So basically you can immerse yourself into the training of, like, for example, you're just in the conference room where there are more than 50 people in front of you. So the specialist can track your emotions, and let's say that this will help them work more, more concretely with your, and more correctly with your results. Because sometimes you might say that I experience real anxiety here, and your health indicators will say, hey, you're absolutely normal. So this is just your, this is just your brain, playing some dirty games. So, many cases of implementing this VR biofeedback sensor, it can be used, in the practices. It can be used in the clinics. It even can be used in the universities when they conduct this, clinical researches or some research-based work, because they always need to have this, some indicators of the health, right? The subjective, which are used with the questions, are not always correct, but if you can track the indicators with this micro EEG system and other things, this makes real value. So we created, we didn't want the patient or the user or the, like the user or the VR to be completely covered with 1 million cables, or like this special crazy system which real professionals use. But like we use this VR biofeedback. It's really easy to use. It goes with your MetaQuest or Pico or HTC Focus bundle, so it's easy to handle.
So we're speaking about an attached additional device. You attach it somewhere, right? And how is the transmission of data from there to PsyTech VR? How does it work?
We have a special API. We show this data just in real time with, like with the network to the VR. That's end-to-end solution. And also we show it in real time on the local computer of the specialist.
And what type of indicators is the device reading?
It's reading the pulse, the HRV, which stands for the heart rate variability, and also the concentration level and the stress level. So we are also open to providing some special measurement and some special results. It's also possible, but we decided to make it, like a bit more understandable for the end users, which are the doctors mainly. So if someone needs some extra data, we can provide them. But, these 4 main indicators are the most interesting for the specialists, especially HRV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. It sounds super exciting. You already also have something called VR Therapy Marketplace, which seems to be a place where people can get online consultations, can get access to professionals. How did you implement this in the platform?
We are rolling this platform next month. So just right now it's working in an alpha. So, we get some users there, but we do respect and do appreciate all the work done by other professionals in this industry. So like every week, I'm just having some conversations with various companies that do mindfulness in VR, art therapy in VR. So for example, we also have some competitors here, right? Right now, I just call them competitors. I don't want to. I want to call them partners. That's why we created a special VR therapy marketplace where they can place their solution, and there will be some other doctors and some other patients, right, using some MetaQuest, Oculus devices, Pico devices, and others. So we create a special place where they can find each other and make online consultations. And we don't limit them with the PsyTech VR only. So we also give them an access to the to other things, like let's say that there are some mind VR things that are connected with the mindfulness and many other applications. So we don't want this. We don't want to be competitors with them. We just want to combine the industry, because nowadays it's not so big really. So speaking of where we work and what type of solution we have only 2 to 3 real competitors working with us. But we also have many other, like projects and interesting companies that are working here. So we can give them also a way to promote their solutions and like, to help this industry grow and grow like each day.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's such a great opportunity for anybody else who also is working with their own, VR products. From the point of view of the, let's say, patient or client or, the person that wants this type of service, how do you address the fact that the person might be, maybe the person don't know necessarily how, like the qualifications of the professional, if they are an actual, psychologist, if the person is actually registered, if the person is actually gonna, have all the knowledge, because this field is pretty sensitive, right? When it's dealing with the health of people, is pretty sensitive. How do you address, the qualifications or the people that can be there available as consultants? How do you address that?
Okay. So, if we are speaking of VR therapy marketplace, we have special accounts, and, there will be some offers. A marketplace will look, in the following. So there will be some offers from the specialists which say, hey, I'm from London. I'm just doing some VR therapy and working with this program. Here's my qualification. Here are my, certificates. Here is my another, like things. So, we just make this marketplace looks like a real marketplace with some filters, with some ability to sort by the experience or sort by the price, the specialists. And we also do the preliminary checking of their accounts for those specialists that are right now on the alpha testing. So, like we just make this, comfortable. We don't want to make it complicated because no one's life should be complicated. We just want to make it easy when someone that is having the MetaQuest, let's say, is coming to the therapy marketplace. They can search through the specialist. They can say that I would like to have a filter of speaking to the specialist, which comes only from the Germany or from Australia. And next, just pick some candidates, send them the requests, speak with them before going to the therapy, to the training, right? So, we just want to make it as easy, as simple as a classic marketplace thing.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for expanding on that. And in terms of the actual creation of PsyTech VR, what were the challenges? Like, how did you assemble the team? How did you come up with the design, the production, the development, the programming, all of these aspects?
The biggest challenge which we face is that the technology is still, so for example, Meta just sold the 20 million copies. I just read a few weeks ago. When we started, there were not so many people that are in here. Also, I must say that people were not prepared for this. But now, as far as, for example, in the US, the MetaQuest became the most sold gift, right, for the last Christmas. We just started getting so many requests on our website, even from the doctors, even from colleges, and also from the individual users. So, but when we started our campaign more than 2 years ago, it was really hard. It was really hard. We just started from the LinkedIn. We started writing to specialists. We understand that, on that point, our market was B2B. So it was really hard, but, you just need to start with something, and next you will see. So another difficult point was the side quest. So, as far as we are more orientated into B2B, and the App Lab or the Meta Store is not so for the B2B, applications, to give an understanding to a person, for example, to a psychologist, which is 50 plus years old, of the instruction on how to, to download the application for their brand new Quest from the side Quest. It was difficult. It was a challenge. Right now we have this, we have this workflow. We just do it in 15 minutes. It's not a big deal. But before we had this, and just maybe something more to mention. What can I say? So, yeah, but, we started from fears and phobias, and first our VR library was 4 to 5 phobias, which was the most popular. It was heights, airplanes, spiders, claustrophobia, and a phobia of darkness, which called the nyctophobia. So when we choose it, this product was really restricted because, okay, these are the phobias. They are the mostly popular, but it's still the 1 to 2% of the services which, which the doctors offer. So next we started developing PsyTech. Right now we have more than 100 levels of various types of the fears, phobias, anxieties, and anger management and wellness practices. We have a huge library, really. And right now we see that more and more specialists are asking us. So, all the things that I said, I must say, so when you start something, it's hard, but you should keep going. You should believe in what you're doing, in your team also, and you should be backed up by your partners, which has some experience. And also, it's better to be backed by big associations. So, yeah, these are the 3 topics which I can manage, which I can mention.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been an amazing talk speaking about PsyTech VR, how you're helping with phobias, anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorders, cognitive
Right.
training, many other things, the VR
Yeah.
marketplace that is coming, and also
Sure.
the guided therapy with consultants. That's amazing. It's such a rounded platform. I think that there are many examples that we can get from your platform for our own maybe creations, people that is
Sure.
creating this type of solutions right now as well. So thank
Mhm.
you for sharing your story, your background, for sharing
Thank
all the
you.
challenges maybe that you've been trying to manage. And congratulations in all the things that you've been doing recently, and of course in
Thank
all
you.
the new exciting things that are coming up for PsyTech VR. Thank you so much, Daniel, for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Okay.